Slayer.
Just one thing. I've seen your file, even the parts the Oni censors didn't want me to. I'm glad to have your skill set. But we're a team. That lone wolf stuff stays behind. Clear?
Got it, sir. Welcome to Reach.
Halo Reach is pretty much the most anticipated game this year. Being the last entry into the Halo series, allegedly, the game has a lot to prove as being a worthy finale to the series. Does it do this? Yes. Yes, it does! Halo Reach is a fantastic game. I believe it ends the series on a very high note, and if you're a fan of shooters, or Halo for that matter, well, you probably already bought it. In any case, let's get into my review. Halo Reach is a prequel to the franchise, which is great because you don't have to know what's going on. The story takes place on a planet called Reach, and you control a nameless Spartan who has just been recruited to Noble Team. Your objective, simply enough, is to fight and stop the Covenant. What makes it interesting is that, being that this is a prequel, you already know what's going to happen, but I'm not going to say anything about that because I'll be flamed to death. There's something about the story that I found really compelling, more so than the other Halo games anyways. Noble Team is fighting a losing battle. They're outnumbered and the odds are against them. And with the exception of your character, your team isn't faceless. They have their own identities, and it brought me into the story more than Halo 3, for example. Is it the best plot in the series? I think so, and I know I'll probably get flamed for that too. Damn flaming! One thing I'm not sure about is whether or not they should have ended the series, allegedly, on a prequel. I think most people were expecting a grand, final battle, not a telling of things that have already happened. It doesn't really bother me, but it's worth mentioning. Overall, though, I really like the story, and I found it more interesting than the other installments, or at least some of them. Halo Reach is an FPS. Yeah, I know, you had no clue. Now, Reach controls pretty much like every other shooter, and Halo game for that matter, so I'll just talk about the additions they've made to the gameplay. First off, we have armor abilities. These allow your character to do things like fly, or cloak themselves, or sprint, and I love sprinting, because ever since I've played Modern Warfare, I've just wanted that in every FPS ever. The game also features new assassination techniques, which were technically in Halo 3, but now they have fancy new animations, and you know what? They're pretty damn cool. When you can get them to work, or get a chance to do one, I never do. Some game mechanics were also changed, such as weapon damage. For example, I've heard that the plasma sword was nerfed, or so my friend Blaze said, but I don't know, I don't play this game hardcore enough to really know. But he does, so I'll take his word for it. Oh, and for some reason, I can get headshots now. The Halo series has never told me when I've gotten a headshot before, so yeah, although sometimes it feels like it's a little bit random. Like, I'll shoot directly at their head, and they should die because that's their head, and that's the point of a headshot, but then they won't, and then I have to call shenanigans on the whole thing. Now that we have the basic gameplay out of the way, let's talk about some of the game modes. To start off, we have the campaign, which will last you around 7 hours depending on what difficulty you play it on. And I really liked the campaign. It was a lot of fun. I'd heard that it was the hardest out of all the Halo campaigns, but I thought it was kind of easier, at least easier than Halo 3, but maybe that's just me. The only portion of the campaign I didn't really like was the section in which you flew a spaceship. It didn't control bad, and you can do barrel rolls, which was great, but I don't know, it just wasn't a highlight for me. Next we have the multiplayer, and holy crap, there's a ton of content. You have your basic Team Slayer and variations of that, Capture the Flag, Headhunter, Invasion, and so on, and I mean so on. There's a lot of different game modes to play in, and they're all pretty fun, except that one that makes me play by myself. I don't like playing by myself. In addition, you also have Firefight, which is carried over from ODST, and that's a ton of fun. And although I didn't buy ODST, apparently Reach's version of Firefight is vastly superior. Now overall, the multiplayer is fantastic. It's really the highlight of this and most Halo games for that matter, and it has a lot to keep you coming back. The game has an improved ranking system. After each match you get points, and with these points you can do two things. They can rank up your character, but you can also use the gained points to buy various equipment to trick your Spartan out. You can fully customize your character, which is great. I love that. It gives so much incentive to keep playing the game. Now, as much as I like the multiplayer, there's one thing that may end up being a big problem. See, you can team kill. Now, I know you can do that in a lot of shooters, but if you team kill, then the other person may get an option to boot you. Now I know what you're thinking. Well, yeah, boot them. I don't want some douche team killer on my team, and that's true. No one needs a douche team killer. But a lot of the time, you'll kill someone by accident and then get booted. And that's really annoying. I don't want to get booted for an accident. I honestly don't feel that the player should be in control of booting other people. How about we just turn friendly fire off, okay? Doesn't that sound like a radical idea, you guys? Now, the last main-ish game mode is Forge mode, which lets you basically construct your own level, and it's rather extensive. You can place buildings, vehicles, weapons, lots of stuff, and if you wanted to really spend time with it, you could create something really great. I tried that, and, yeah, I kinda broke shit. All in all, though, the gameplay of Halo Reach was fantastic. There's a ton of content here, and it's really a lot of fun. Halo Reach is a great-looking game, and it's definitely a step up from Halo 3. Environments look gorgeous, and the characters look more Spartan-y. That's a word, right? It's a word now. Now, aside from them making areas and the characters look better, the weapons also got a nice facelift. They look a lot better in my opinion. Of course, the massive pretty update didn't come without a cost, and sometimes the game does suffer from a bit of slowdown. It didn't really bother me too much because it honestly wasn't that bad, or game-breaking for that matter, but it's worth mentioning. On the sound side of things, the music was awesome. This is a Halo game, so that's to be expected. I found that the music did a really good job of setting the mood, whatever that mood may be. I almost wish that you could hear it in the multiplayer because it's a little too quiet for me, and yes, I suppose people are trying to hear enemies, but a battle zone needs a soundtrack from the 80s, which isn't in this game, but whatever. On the voice acting side of things, it's alright, it's not bad, it's good, don't get me wrong, wouldn't say it's amazing, but it's not bad and it does its job. All in all, the presentation was great. Halo Reach is a fantastic game, and I think it's worthy of being the last Halo game, allegedly. And it's just a lot of fun. Is it perfect? No, but there's no such thing as perfection. It's always good to strive for perfection, though. And while Halo Reach isn't perfect, it's definitely worth a purchase. So if you like Halo or first-person shooters, then you should buy this game. Because right now, in my opinion, there is not a better shooter on the market. Halo Reach gets a 4.5 out of 5.
Game over.